There are about 7 billion people on our planet, varying in skin color, well-being, and temperament. But there is one feeling that unites everyone. This is love. It spins heads and brings happiness, and it also happens that a wonderful feeling becomes a dangerous tool that in an instant can break a person's life or cause unbearable pain. Each of us probably wondered, where is love born? Some answer this question, in the heart, while others say, in the brain. Why was it called a disease, and is it true that love lives for 3 years? How do we choose each other, and why do we fall in love with the wrong ones? The answers to these and many other questions are in our material. Symptom 1. Thin vision. According to psychologist Ekaterina Stepanova, love is like a fever, a kind of strong emotional explosion. When people fall in love, they first go through the stage of merging. Lovers do not notice the differences between themselves, but pay more attention to the similarities. This is how the general concept of we appears, which blurs the individuality of each lover, she explained. Psychologists unanimously say that all love stories begin in the same way, but end in different ways. Among the first symptoms of love, experts distinguish tone vision, when a person is not able to perceive anything that does not directly or indirectly touch his object of love. Doctor of Medical Sciences, Professor Aleki Danilov is sure that at the first stage of love the fate of the further mental state of a person is decided. If a person does not find an answer from the object of love, then depending on his level of culture, his moral values, a person is able to become evil, commit a crime aimed at a partner or circumstances around. Or he can write a painting, a poem, music, perform a feat in the name of his love. Symptom 2. Flight and clouding of the mind. Another symptom of love is the aggravation of feelings. So, a person has a certain feeling of flight and a strange clouding of the mind. A lover wants to sing, dance, do something unusual all the time. He wants to move mountains. A person is really stupid at this time. And this perception is called limitation. There is an idealization of the image of a lover, which a person does not want to destroy at all, says psychologist Ekaterina Stepanova. Specialists during the passage of this stage note in lovers emotional and psychological instability, accompanied by insomnia, which does not affect the performance. There is no feeling of fatigue. In this state, a person is not afraid of bacteria and viruses. No disease will take him. However, the person is already sick. It is worth noting that in 2000, love was officially recognized as a disease and entered into the International Classifier of Diseases under the code F63.9. Doctors attributed this romantic feeling to psychiatric abnormalities. Love is akin to neurosis, a state ready to go into borderline if a person will no longer direct his attention to other aspects of life. Then it can even turn into a psychotic state, Ekaterina Stepanova continues. Where does love originate, in the heart or in the brain? The emergence of love occurs simultaneously in the brain and in the saddle. The brain is the coordinator, and the heart is the engine of love, says Aleki Danilov. According to him, now science is discovering neurophysical and biological mechanisms that help to understand this connection. It is already obvious that the heart of a person in love sings, and the brain is happy. Scientists are convinced that love is nothing more than a chemical reaction, under the influence of which all human systems and organs begin to work differently. The severity of love depends on hormonal saturation. The higher a person's content of hormones that are responsible for the state of love, the more pronounced a person's manifestations of love, says endocrinologist Svetlana Klyachenko. Love originates in the adrenal glands. When a person falls in love, the adrenal glands are the first to respond. They begin to produce hormones of passion and fear. At the sight of the object of love, thanks to adrenaline, the heartbeat increases, the blood flow accelerates. The hormone cortisol increases the production of glucose in the pancreas, supplying the body with more energy. It is because of this that lovers do not want to sleep or eat. It also increases the breakdown of fats, so you can lose weight from love. Norepinephrine gives a feeling of mild intoxication, which causes addiction, so it is so difficult for lovers to part even for several hours. According to Professor Aleki Danilov, love is a very powerful biochemical explosion, a very beautiful neurochemical concert. Love is a very good workout for the brain, because it is well supplied with blood in this state. Butterflies in the belly. Scientists compared tomograms of the brain of couples in love and drug-dependent patients. As a result, in both cases, the same zones responsible for the so-called reward system were active. This is expressed by an increased level of dopamine, a substance that causes a feeling of pleasure. Only in lovers this increase was natural, and in drug addicts, artificially. The hormone dopamine gives a feeling of butterflies in the stomach, so our hormonal background works. From the injection of hormones, love does not come. There were many experiments with different sets of hormones, but nothing worked. It turned out that love causes a surge of hormones, and a surge of hormones cannot cause love. Scientists say that romantic attraction is born in the unconscious. It is this part of the psyche that instructs the body to launch the biochemical processes characteristic of falling in love. People intuitively learn more about each other than they are able to comprehend with the rational part of the mind. Initially, a person sees an image, and inside his unconscious, literally within 30 to 60 seconds, there is an acceptance or non-acceptance of this image. According to psychologists, this perception gives our image ego. We are talking about a certain image assembled from fragments. The fragments themselves come from people who influenced us in childhood: parents, grandparents, siblings, a kindergarten teacher, a neighbor, a passerby on the street, and so on. Our brain stores all the information about these people. The sounds of their voices, the degree of their concern for us, the color of their faces in a moment of anger, smiles in a moment of happiness. Absolutely all the people we meet, whether we like it or not, we compare with our image ego. If there is a coincidence on some signs, we immediately feel interested. Recognition occurs by facial features. We can determine a man's success by behavioral factors. Women choose different characters, and men choose a fragile image that needs protection and guardianship, explains psychologist Ekaterina Stepanova. People fall in love with asymmetry. It is known that our faces are asymmetrical. When evaluating a potential partner, we first look at the face. One look is enough to understand whether you like it or not. If so, we move on to scanning the appearance as a whole. So, women instinctively pay attention to the reliability of the partner and the opportunity to have offspring with him, to social success. And men on the sexuality of a woman. There is an opinion that modern men are attracted to slimness or even thinness. But this is a myth. Men chose both slender and curvy, but everyone chose women with a pronounced waist. The figure of a woman depends on how adipose tissue is distributed. Apple, pear and banana. There is a conditional division of female figures into three types: apple, pear, banana. In apples, the distribution of fat in the upper torso and the absence of a waist. The banana body is taut, slender, but there are no characteristic female curves. Pears have a thin waist and wide hips. These are the most attractive for men. According to psychologists, a man sees in such a woman an ideal vessel for the birth and bearing of a child. But there is still a very important factor, in addition to appearance: the smell. The specificity of the human smell is added by substances thanks to which we experience arousal, sexual attractance. The hormone testosterone is responsible for their production. By smell, people choose a partner. This is not a perfume, but a subtle smell of sweat, which contains sexual attractants, derivatives of testosterone. In the composition of sweat there are two types of steroids, androstenol and aldosterone. They are in men and women, only in different proportions. If people have a proportionately opposite content of these steroids, this is the perfect pair. Healthy children should be born from this couple. The level of production of sexual attractants depends on the general state of health, libido, and even on mood. This aroma is very weak. It is not captured by our consciousness, but is evaluated by our subconscious mind and is an important criterion for choice. In this way, we weed out a healthier, stronger, sexier partner for life. When we smell, a nerve impulse from the nose goes to the brain. The signal goes to the frontal lobe, where it is determined what kind of smell it is, and to the limbic system. This is the part of the brain where the memory of the emotions that we experienced when we felt this or that smell is contained. Therefore, the smell is able to evoke strong emotions based on previous experience. Scientists have found that couples who have lived together for a long time become similar. They have common habits, words, gestures, even outwardly they resemble each other. The average duration of love is 1.5-3 years. Every time we fall in love, it seems to us that it is forever. But sooner or later the euphoria goes away, and with it the desire to be together. The average length of love is 1.5-3 years. This is enough for the child to be born and stronger. If you've stayed with your partner longer, there's more to you than just chemistry. What is the difference between true love? Monroe syndrome. Monroe syndrome is another psychological disorder, love addiction. Addicted people are most often those who say, "I'm going to die without this person." When there is such an attitude, it is not love, but a painful perception of this feeling, psychologists say. The reason for this is the lack of love in childhood. Love addiction does not allow a person to live in harmony with himself. A person loses himself in alcohol dependence, in depression, he is prone to suicide. The emotions of a love addict resemble a swing. When he experiences love and connection with a partner, he is euphoric, but as soon as he feels cold, depression sets in. The psyche can't stand it. From love to jealousy is one step. Falling in love is a state of falling in love with love, in the image that a person likes. And love is the feeling of love for this person, with all his flaws. Jealousy is the antithesis of love. Even with minor manifestations of it, a person becomes dangerous to himself and others. The main indicator is egoism. It is developed to such limits that a person is perceived as personal property. According to statistics, due to jealousy, every fourth union breaks up. This feeling is destructive, first of all, for the jealous person himself. Professor Alexei Danilov believes that people who live together for a long time biochemically get used to each other and need to be fed by each other. When a person loses such a partner, the level of serotonin in the brain decreases. Attachment hormone. Two loving people are connected by oxytocin. It's called the attachment hormone. Everyone has oxytocin receptors, which means that all people are capable of love and affection. Therefore, no one can escape love. Note that people who experience love and gratitude are better protected from strokes, depression. Love moves us, determining our destiny. It is spontaneous, illogical, and it is impossible to predict its ending. But much depends solely on us. Love is work. You need to be able to set yourself up for love. Thousands of books have been written about love, but it is a mystery behind 7 seals that must be found after going through a long journey of patience and loss.